Good evening, everyone! Welcome back once again to Vicious Rants, and of course I am your host, your YouTube messiah, and often imitated, never duplicated superstar Tim Vicious. And going over to Raw this week was in St. Paul, Minnesota. You know, and now before we get into the show, do want to address a handful of things here and there. News was circulating around and a lot of talk was going, and basically it was the proverbial tossing a pebble down a snow hill and it turned into a giant snow boulder and all that shit. There's rumors going around now that NXT is going to be moving from the network directly to USA. There was rumors saying it was going to go, the news was going to be officially announced tonight during Raw. Obviously it wasn't, but let's just take this into consideration for a minute. Let's just talk in the realms of hypotheticals and what ifs. If that does happen, instead of focusing on the negatives, saying, oh, it's going to be on national TV, so Vince is going to be in control, it's going to be shit, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. Shut the fuck up for a minute. Think. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, it is. Then all that means is that talent that is on the network that, you know, everyone that all the smarky McSmarkertons demand need to be on the main roster, you know, just they don't need to then, because they would be on national television instead of being on just a small audience, a small loyal audience, much like you guys. They would be exposed to a much broader audience and seen globally. Or not have the potential to be seen globally, but that would be the very, very best case. Smallest best case, nationwide, because I guarantee you're gonna have more moms and dads that are wrestling fans that have Hulu or Spectrum or something like that to watch TV and watch Raw, SmackDown and all, but they may not be able to afford the network. So, if for the hell of it, NXT gets put on USA, guarantee those moms and dads are going to get a chance to say, hey buddy, to their kiddos, be like, hey buddy, come here, this is a new show, I want you to let you check it out, what do you think? There you go, see? You know, and that's the thing that always pisses me off about the frickin' quote-unquote IWC. Because they spend so much time focusing on the negatives and making one small thing, making a mountain out of a molehill, that they don't bother to take a step back and think, okay, wait a second. What does this mean long-term, business-wise? What does this mean long-term, creative? How does this help the character? How does this help the show? How does this help the brand? This is where you need to stop and actually think on the business end of the business, because God forbid that you actually put a business mindset on this. You have no idea on how much that would make things a lot easier. Now, I don't try and argue with promoters. I don't try to argue about on how a promoter should work. Because I'll be the first to admit, I have never once handled being a promoter. The most I do with being a promoter is this right here. I promote the shit out of this show. I bust my ass to get it out there for you all. That's the most I do as a promoter. I argue with a booker. Yeah, but the big thing I'll always ask at the end is, why? Why? What's the payoff? What's next? What's the catch? Because that's what I want to know. yeah, would I like to see like something to just be like, whoa, shit, wasn't expecting that? Yeah. Yeah, we all would. But after you get that, where do you go from there? Now, with that, next thing I want to argue on, next thing I'm going to blow up on for probably the next 5 minutes, and I'm sorry for that. Sorry if this is the boring part of the show for you, but rumors were circulating around all day today saying that Bray Wyatt's Fiend character is going to be more toned down and more family friendly and this, that, and the other. Okay, let's just hit the brakes right there. Let's hit the brakes right there, because right there is where you know where it's bullshit. Because let's take a look at the actual concept of the character. First things first, Firefly Funhouse, Bray Wyatt, he's like fucking Mr. Rogers. He is literally just like Mr. Rogers, except he's got a few screws loose. Think Mr. Rogers mixed with Hannibal Lecter. Well, okay, we can't say Hannibal Lecter because Bray isn't eating people, but there you go. Think Mr. Rogers and Ted Bundy. That would be a good way to describe it. And then you put the Fiend in that perspective. That's the deep, dark demon side, you know? The evil side of it. So now, and if you got fucking Tom Savini making your mask, then you know this isn't going to be family friendly. You know this is going to be some scary ass shit. You got fucking Tom Savini working in his workshop with Bray Wyatt making it. So yeah, this is going to be some scary shit. There's no way they're going to turn that down. In fact, Bray even called out the one news site, PW Stream, about that, saying, dude, no. You need to talk to whoever your sources are. They were dead on wrong. And don't get me wrong, I love PW Stream. That's why I still follow them on my Twitter at Tim Vicious. But 9 out of 10 times they're wrong, or they give a very small, minute kernel of, you know, or not kernel, small, minute piece of information about the story. Love you guys. You just need to step up your game and be a little more professional. Instead of trying to run shit like that fuck knuckle Meltzer, try running your shit like you're an actual news site like NBC or something. You know, you'd be surprised on how much, on what kind of a vast change that could make. Now, with that said, let's get on to the show. Raw, St. Paul, first match of the night. No opening promos, no hype ups for the King of the Rings until after this match. But first, match up. It starts with a match right off bat. Roman Reigns, Dolph Ziggler, they're hyping up about who's the one that's been doing all this shit to Roman. Who could it be? Who could it be? Who could it be? Ding O'Brien and Rowan know, but they're going to reveal later on SmackDown when it's convenient for them. So I'm just waiting for Luke Harper to come out and say, I did it for Rowan. I did it for all the bearded people. I tried. I couldn't do the Rikishi voice. I'm sorry. Let me try that again. I did it. I did it for Rowan. I did it for all the bearded people. Okay, that's as good as I can do. Anyways, Roman Ziggler. It starts out Roman with Ziggler hyping up on how he got his ass kicked by Goldberg, and then he was so knocked out from that he lost to Maurice's husband. Didn't even address Miz by the name, which is beautiful heel heat on his part. And then, you know, talking about it should have been me, it should have been me, it should have been me, and then boom, super kick right to Roman out of nowhere. Then we get the match going. Now, Roman, he wound up picking up the lead after the break, but Ziggler, he, for the most part, was kind of like doing the hustle work for it. It was a good match. It was a good starter. Match came to an end when Ziggler, he went from one corner, running to another to go do like the Stinger Splash. Next thing you know, Roman just came out, boom, hit him with the spear, 1, 2, 3. That was it. Now, next up, we got tag team action. Fuck. Can't get my words right. Damn it. Ricochet and Miz versus Drew McIntyre and Baron Corbin. And I'm not gonna lie, Ricochet and Miz what on paper? If you'd have just handed that to me on paper, I'd have looked and said, "You fucking serious? There's no way these two can mesh." But these two actually meshed pretty damn good out there. I was damn impressed. I like the way them two were working tonight. And now, Corbin and McIntyre, well, Corbin, yeah, you know, a sack of potatoes can be more entertaining, you know. But McIntyre, man, like I said, McIntyre, keep your eye out, because I guarantee, but within the next year or so, he's going to be world champ. Now, it was a good match, you know. Miz and Rick, they were leading into the break. Afterwards, Miz was the punching bag. Ricochet wound up getting a hot tag, cleaned up house. It was good action all around. Match came to an end when Ricochet wound up hitting a ripcord on frickin' Corbin with the help of Miz. Miz pulling Corbin over to get his attention, and then Ricochet just boom pulled him down and hit him with it. 1, 2, 3. So next up, we got U.S. title action. Braun Strowman, AJ Styles, Uncle Allen putting his U.S. title on the line against Braun, and Strowman was just being Strowman, man, pounding the shit out of AJ. Just as it looked like he was about to have the win, next thing you know, the Good Brothers, Gallows and Anderson, come in, step in, proceed to start beating up Strowman, so it's a DQ. Then that leads to Seth coming down to help him because, you know, hey, Strowman helped Seth last week, so fair is fair, you know. Next thing you know, we get a backstage segment, Seth saying, "Listen, I know you're eyeing up that Universal title, and we'll get to that in time, but for right now, you and me, I say we teach these guys a lesson. Me and you, we go against Gallows and Anderson for the tag titles tonight. What do you say?" So we'll get to that match later on. Next up, we got first round qualifying King of the Ring match, Samoa Joe versus Cesaro, and my God, this was a match, man. This was a good stiff match. This was my match of the night right here. This was my match of the night. And it's been a while since I've done a match of the night, because normally when I do that, the hand starts flying and then the next day my wrist is hurting like hell. You know, but anyways. Decent match, really loved it. Right at the beginning, like the very second the bell rang, Cesaro just ran and did that uppercut of his right on to Joe right off bat. And it was just good, solid match. Joe wound up leading after the break, and well, I should say he was leading before and after the break, but man, this was just a good match, you know. And I'm not gonna lie, folks, the two best matches on the night all had Ring of Honor guys in them. I'll get to the next match in a little bit. But man, this was just beautiful. And match wound up coming to an end. Joe, he got the Coquita clutch in, choked out Cesaro. So Joe is moving forward into the King of the Ring tournament, which kind of sucks on that part because I freaking love Cesaro. Y'all ever talk to my buddy Bingus out there on the Twitter? You see on how much of a fan he is of Billy Gunn. I'm very much so in the same way with Cesaro. You know? Next up, we got New Day versus Revival. This match was via courtesy because of last week they had a match on SmackDown. And New Day, they wound up leading, and then eventually Woods wound up becoming a punching bag after the commercial break. And side note here, No, before we were seeing a lot of 2 out of 3 falls. They were experimenting, you know, trying to not have matches end at commercial breaks and all that shit. Honestly, I'm good with this formula now because it's an easier pace to watch, if that makes sense. Because, you know, we'll just, you know, you just keep doing the 2 out of 3, then boom, this one, then this one, and then this one. And it just, nah. This is a lot easier way, this is an easier pace to take and digest it. You know? Now, like I said, Woods, he got the hot tag. He wanted the, or not Woods got the hot tag. Woods was the team punch bag, got Big E in, and Big E got the hot tag. He started cleaning up. Match was going good. Next thing you know, match gets thrown out when Randy, right out of nowhere, boom, hits an RKO on Big E. And then next thing you know, they all start beating the hell out of him. Kofi comes down, they start beating the hell out of Kofi. And then Randy is holding Kofi while Revival go and do a double stomp off the, while the Revival do a stomp on the Woods on his one leg. So it looks like Woods is going to be storylined out of action, more than likely. But honestly, I dig the shit out of this because, and I'm not saying this in a negative way because I love Randy's work. But Randy, man, he does some of the most meanest and sadistic shit when he's got a fucking posse behind him. And I'm not talking, yeah, you could bring up the argument of, oh, well, the Legend Killer. Oh, well, when he DDT'd Stephanie and beat the shit out of Hunter and Shane and all that shit. Okay, yeah, but those aside, man, a majority of the mean, nasty, evil shit Randy does, he typically has a posse with him. Like, he normally has a few guys with him. Evolution, Legacy, now the, you know, Wyatt's, you know, it's shit like that, man. So, next up, we're coming to women's tag action, and whew, man, this was when I needed the heart pills. You got Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross going against Mandy Rose and Sonya DaVilla. Oh dear Lord. Alexa Bliss and Mandy Rose in the ring at the same time. Thank God my buddy Zeke was there. He had the defibrillator on hand and ready to just keep me going. God bless you, Zeke. I absolutely love you for that. Now, Mandy, she was team punching bag, and there was a lot of quick in and out tags between Alexa and Nikki, and I'm really, I'm digging the way that they're working with them. And not only that, a lot of people were saying before, oh, Nikki Cross is going to fall through the loop, she's going to fall through the cracks, she's not going to get used, she's just going to get buried. Dude, no. How is she getting buried? She's in a primetime moment with one of their top women draws, Alexa. She's now a champion, and she's working on the shows on a weekly basis, whether it's in the ring or on the mic. She's working. So, yeah. Now, as far as the match went, I would have liked to see a little more action, but it was what it was. But I still give it an A+ because, again, Mandy Rose and Alexa Bliss. The only way you could have made it better is if Mickie James got thrown in that mix. And yep, I just broke my brain now. Sorry. Yeah, match came to an end when Nikki Cross wound up hitting that cross neck breaker, as they said, as they're calling it now, on the Sonya. So now we get to the second first round qualifying match for King of the Ring. Cedric Alexander versus Sami Zayn. Second best match of the night right here. You can make the argument saying, oh well, Cedric's is better, or the Joe and Cesaro matches. Me, honestly, I'm going to say Joe and Cesaro because I like that good stiff style. I like my wrestling matches to look like a fucking fight. But Cedric Alexander and Sami Zayn, man, two other ROH guys, and we all know how I feel in love about Ring of Honor. You know, Sami really liked on how he was working on grounding Cedric, but, you know, once Cedric started getting momentum moving, man, he started moving and he just, boom, was going through. Caught Sami good outside doing a tope. Next thing you know, started picking up some momentum. Got the win doing the lumbar check, 1, 2, 3. That's it. So Cedric Alexander proceeds to move on to the next round in the King of the Ring tournament. And now we get to the final match, the main event of the night. Really going to need some Motrin for this wrist later. Seth and Braun going against the Good Brothers, Luke Gallows, Karl Anderson. And good start, you know, really liked on how with Braun and Luke just like sizing each other up. And yeah, I've had the courtesy of meeting the big LG Luke Gallows. Man, the cameras do not do him justice for on how big of a bastard that man is. And Braun, I've seen him at a house show, man. Guy is fucking solid. And just seeing these two big tanks just colliding, it was like, whoa. Yeah, that was my first reaction on it. Now, one thing that I did like that they were still highlighting and they're emphasizing on, Seth still selling the rib injuries from SummerSlam, you know, having his ribs taped up. Little things like that appeal to me and I enjoy, just simply because that still furthers the story. Because they could have just said no more ribs and then leave it at that. But instead they're still saying it, and they're still saying that Seth is still recovering from that fight he had with Brock. And yeah, that would make sense, because you got a guy like Seth Rollins size and build going against Brock Lesnar, who, for all intents and purposes, pretty much in Steve Austin's own words, all you gotta do is just put two bolts on some bitch, beat Frankenstein. You know? So yeah. You are going to feel it, even in the world of wrestling, with it being worked and all. But just fucking yeah. Now, Seth, he was still selling the ribs, he was still bandaged, they were working him, he was the punching bag. At one point, Strowman was out for a good bit of the match until they were getting ready to have Uncle Alan go and run some interference and take out Seth, when right out of nowhere, Strowman, boom, came out of nowhere like a bullet train, started clearing up house. Next thing you know, Strowman, he got the tag in, started beating the shit out of Karl Anderson, hit the running power slam on him, and then Seth did a curb stomp onto AJ to keep him from running interference and doing a DQ. Next year, 1, 2, 3. So your winners and new tag team champions, Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman. Seth is now also in the record books as the first man to be a dual champion, being Universal and Tag. So, just a little something for you if you're ever on bar night and they ask something like that. Quiz night. So, that's it for this week's show, folks. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, go back, watch some of the other episodes. Make sure y'all look for me on my Twitter at Tim Vicious. You also got another account, don't forget, Tim_Vicious. Also on that Facebook gimmick, Tim Ash. If you're going to look for me on my Facebook gimmick, make sure you let me know you found me on there from here. Or my Twitter at Tim Vicious. I think keep John going. Huge ups to my executive producer, Ali Rewind Ben, who provided the music for this week's show. Also, you want one of these sweet Ali Rewind shirts, hit me up and I'll talk to that man for you. Show him some love and support. Also, big thanks to new contributor to the show, LFC Lingerie Fighting Championships. It's a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of MMA, and a whole lot of hot women wearing a little bit of nothing. Also, folks, don't forget to check out all these cool ass cats right here on the Twitter Axelmellion, Kenny, Killer, DSB underscore IV, Cranky Asshole, Dazzy MWP, and Sergeant Courage Pants. And folks, like I always tell y'all, you love me great, you hate me. Fuck you.